Hello, everyone. Welcome to Surviving Ish podcast, where we're going to discuss small life glitches and the occasional real life moments. And I'm so excited to have a friend with us today, Mariel, who you were a part, I want to say, season 1 of this
I
thing.
I don't remember the exact season. I do know that it was in the winter and it was about the TTI, troubled teen industry.
Yeah, and so of course I'll share the link. But that's been a couple years now.
Several years. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't believe how much time has passed. But what I love about what I'm doing is I make connections with people, and even if we go months or whatever without talking, we could just pick right up. And I really love that. And I think that your story is a powerful one. But I'm ready to get into surviving ish, and I want to go first this time because here's why. I was in a hurry, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go through. No judgment, McDonald's drive-through and treat myself to the one Big Mac I allow myself to have a month. And so they have two drive-throughs, right? Or like two speakers. And so there's like a car at each one. So I just pick one and get behind it. And then so they get done ordering and I move up at the same time the other person. And so another car moves up and they got like two or three cars at this other speaker before even talking to me. And I'm like, so then I'm wondering, am I in the wrong line? Do I need to get out and go to another line? And they start talking to me. And then like I'm frustrated. And so I'm also one of those people that I never want to piss off people that mess up my food. And so I'd ask for a particular condiment. And then I'm afraid to like look in the bag to see if they've got it, if they put it in the bag, because but I'm like, the minute I don't, I'm gonna get home and it's not gonna be there and everything's gonna be ruined. And
Oh.
this was just a real life like, what the hell is going on moment. Like I just wanted some sauce and someone to take me there.
That kind of makes me think of how you would probably never want to be with my dad going through a drive-through. He is the quintessential boomer. And when I say he's bad at technology, he's like me with ADHD, but worse. And he gets so flustered. He's just like, hello, hello. I think he would just get so confused and then just start yelling at them.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and he's not like you. It has no problem being rude to people that handle his food. He has no problem. He's said some real wild things.
Oh wow. And I think that comes with age. And I think it also
Oh,
comes with not having certain job experiences. Like when I became a server and bartender, most of my family hadn't served a bartender before. And I was like, we need to make sure y'all know how to tip.
yeah. Yeah.
If I'm ever
Yeah.
going out with you to eat again, I have to either know that I like you enough to spot you a few extra dollars for the tip that you won't leave, or I'm not going with you unless
Yeah.
you're a good tipper. And even working, and you can always tell like when someone has done a certain type of job. Like anytime that I go to a restaurant, within minutes they're like, "You used to serve, didn't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because I'm cleaning up after myself. I have
Hmm.
manners.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I've never been a waitress because I'm way too clumsy for that, but I've was a barista for a while. And yeah, it definitely is a humbling experience. I had a woman get upset with me before and she threw a muffin at me because I didn't microwave it for long enough.
Oh,
And I was like 19 at the time and I just started crying.
oh wow, yeah. Yeah, I the stories. I think one day we're gonna have a an episode where I'm gonna have like a bunch of like servers and bartenders, and we'll all just share these nightmare stories because I truly think that in order to graduate high school, you have to be a server for at least a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I have another. So again, coffee shop. This isn't necessarily horror, but it was like there was this older woman that I later became like friends with. And again, I was 19 and at this coffee shop, I hadn't really been a coffee drinker before, but we had to try all the drinks that we made when we were training. just to get the taste for them. And I tried all the drinks. I was like hopped up on the caffeine. And some older woman, she's like, "Hey, baby girl," this was in North Carolina. She's like, "Hey, baby girl, do you want a tranquilizer?" And I'm like, "Okay." So then, like, every time she would come in, she'd give me her Klonopin. I'm like, "Oh, okay,
Did you take it?
yeah,
That is hilarious. You know,
yeah,
back when we were younger, we could do things like that.
yeah." Didn't have to worry about fentanyl.
I had a person that used to tip me an Adderall.
Yes, yes, yeah,
And
yeah.
at the time, I think it was probably her child's Ritalin because she was like the stay-at-home mom kind of thing. Like, I want to have
Yeah.
a drink before I have to go get the kids. So she was probably giving me her child's prescribed Ritalin as a tip. You know what? It got me through the next couple of shifts. I made really good.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's like, I'll take it.
uh-huh. Yeah. But now you can't do things like that. You never know
No,
what you're
no,
getting.
no, fentanyl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary.
Not worth it.
No.
Well, yeah. So that's my ish today. I did not enjoy my burger,
Mm,
but I did enjoy the McDonald's Coca-Cola is my favorite. The way it
yeah.
burns and
Like the bubbles. Yes.
uh,
Yes.
so at least the Coke went well for me.
Well, good.
What
Yeah, at least you had
Coca-Cola,
something.
just let me clarify since of what we were just talking about.
Yeah, yeah, not that kind of Coke. Yeah, the soda.
Right. All right. What is your ish this week? Like, what's holding you together? Or,
Well,
you know,
very little is holding me together. Maybe my dog and the fact that it's nice out and it's September and I live in a very touristy place on the beach. So, yeah, that's holding me together. But my living situation has become a bit complicated as of several months ago. And now I am paying a mortgage for a house that I don't live in. And I am living with a friend, her nanny, and two children. Now, children were never in my equation. And I see one of the reasons for that is because they don't like to flush the toilet. And I have a big old hound dog that loves nothing more than to drink the pee that has been sitting in the toilet all night. And I'm like, oh, oh, it's so gross. It
yeah,
is
they want to
the
live with
oh, it's just
you.
oh, oh, it's gross.
So are they like teenage years?
12, 10.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Are they boys?
One boy, one girl.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy. And going from living with a partner, I a year ago went through a divorce. I was, with a guy for 7 years, and
yeah.
and living with a partner, especially if you live in a place where you respect boundaries, and like I could go upstairs to my office and do my podcasting, and he would stay downstairs and leave me alone. He knew that was my time. I knew when it was his time to be in his little area to play his games or whatever. And so we were able to separate where it didn't feel like a roommate situation. I could
Right.
walk around naked if I needed to. It didn't matter what I looked like. And I've recently allowed a couple of friends to move in with me. And,
Ooh.
in today's America, let's split the bills. We have our own little corners, our own little bathrooms. We say what, we have our space and stuff, but just getting accustomed to other people's habits and
Mm.
even little things like, I'm like, am I becoming my mother? Like, opened up the dishwasher and the dishwasher was not loaded the correct way, which is my way.
Yeah, yep.
What is going on in my house here?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So, yeah, a couple things. Yay, divorce, because that's what I'm going through right now.
Right?
So fun. 10 out of 10. Do not recommend. I should have never gotten married, but also, yes, the I was diagnosed with celiac 2 years ago, and it makes the whole kitchen situation a lot more stressful for me.
Yeah.
And that and my ADHD makes chaos and clutter in my environment very overwhelming. So I get very easily overstimulated.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
So with that, like, is it like the physical, visual things as well as the emotional things that?
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, because when we talked on the phone, and of course I'm not going to volunteer any information, but like the direction and the life changes that you're having to make would be such a shock to the system, and living situations. And I think you maybe left the state you were in.
Temporarily. So should I just get into it
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit? Yeah. So back in the end of April, the beginning of May, I had reached a breaking point with my husband. Now, when I spoke with you on the podcast several years ago, I was married to him, still legally and technically I am married right now, but I hadn't it hadn't gone into my mind back then that it was an abusive relationship, although clearly everyone else in my life saw it except for me. But I had been with him since I was 19, right out of the TTI. So going from one element of coercive control to another. And he's about 7 years older than me. So when I was 18, 19, right out of a treatment cult, I'm very vulnerable, and he was 25. I was ripe for the picking.
right.
So
So did you find that like
I,
leaving that very controlled cult, almost said cult like, but it's not cult like, it's cult
it
atmosphere.
was a cult. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
cult atmosphere. So did you find like was there some kind of like familiarity or comfortability of him being controlling as well, if that would be the right word that you would use, where you were maybe micromanaged some?
I don't think it came off as controlling at first. It came off as me being very young, naive, and him paying for everything for me and me being very protective and just and doing a lot of drugs. We did a lot of ecstasy together. So at that point in time, like, I was getting off all the psych meds that I was on cold turkey, doing a lot of psychedelic drugs with him, and just living in absolute chaos. Like, right out of the TTI, I was homeless. I met him. I moved in with him. He saved me from homelessness. Yeah, so I just saw it as, better than where I had been. And I didn't think it was controlling or anything like that at first. I don't remember the situation that led to it, but I do know that when we had first gotten together, young, I was probably 20, 21 or so, he had proposed to me, and at some point I threw the engagement ring at him. I don't exactly remember why, but should have listened to myself back then. It only took me 20 years, but
Right.
yeah. So fast forward about 20 years later, I had reached my breaking point. April was a very difficult month. If you have to ask ChatGPT, Google, your friends, whoever, if you're in an abusive relationship, you probably are. And I had begun cataloging things like conversations and experiences that I was having with him in ChatGPT. And at this point in time, he had been diagnosed with autism, and I'm a therapist. And I'm a therapist, and I work in domestic violence, like, not specifically, but a lot of my clients have experienced and are experiencing intimate partner violence.
And forgive me for
Eh,
interrupting, but
yeah.
I feel like you had mentioned that you would not have classified what you're going through as any kind of abuse, and that it's almost like you were the last one to know you were being abused. And
Yeah.
but I feel like that's a common thing.
Yeah.
And in some cases, you had people that was able to recognize and was even telling you
Oh,
that
yeah.
no, you're not in a healthy situation. But sometimes there's people that I'm sure that that their partners has eliminated everyone in their life to where no one recognizes that
Hmm.
they're being abused, and so that would also take them maybe they do already know, or do you
Hmm.
find that they're still one of the last ones to know too?
And maybe it's not necessarily the conscious knowledge. I think it's me minimizing for survival, me minimizing my experiences, because throughout all of this time, there were a lot of things that would be violent. He would break things in hotel rooms at like 2 in the morning. He would sabotage important events. He was very sexually abusive. He had raped me before. He had pushed me, screamed in my face, diagnosed me with autism, so called me a narcissist, said I had borderline personality, just at screaming in my face. And I'm like, oh, he just has autism. It's a meltdown. He would threaten suicide. He would say he would allude to the fact he would allude to having a gun in the house. And this is all things like in retrospect that I'm seeing these big things: screaming, yelling, punching things, destroying property, physical intimidation, sexual abuse. That big, but it was like the death by a thousand cuts, the daily, you know, just getting broken down, broken down, the gaslighting, the minimizing. He would tell me that he was incapable of gaslighting because he has autism. He was incapable of manipulation because he has autism. Um,
I think that that is part of the manipulation that he is incapable of, is trying to plant those seeds into your head that
yeah,
this serious illness, that this autism that obviously needs to be treated a certain way, and there has to be knowledge about it, and but using it as a weapon against you, like that
yeah,
is like that to me, and I can't diagnose anybody, and I'm not trying to, but like that's a
right.
borderline personality disorder thing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will say like narcissism. I don't like to throw that label out there because, but when you think about like the patterns of abuse, the coercive control, it falls under the spectrum of what, a lot of people call narcissistic abuse. There's that. But so back to several months ago, it'll be like what, almost 5 months ago, I had reached a breaking point. April was hard. There was, he had a long time ago accused me of having an affair, which I didn't. He had gone through my phone, all that, whatever. And that's another thing, invasion of my personal belongings. And so he had accused me of things. And then it was like 5 years ago, held that against me, used that as a weapon against me. Every time he was upset, every abuse, I deserved it because of that. So he had decided to go through, I do, I'm into cycling, mountain biking. So I use Strava. So he'd gone through my Strava from years ago and found something that he had decided was proof of said affair. Basically, two people giving a thumbs up to a post or whatever, to a sport activity, and decided to basically stand me up in group is how I felt. Like back when I was in the TTI, we would get what was called stood up in group and screamed at and yelled at and torn down until we just admitted to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was. I was interrogated. I was accused. It was just relentless for a month. And he said that I deserved the way I was being treated because, I did this, this, and that. And so it was one morning before I had to go to work. I was taking a shower. And again, I'm a therapist. I've gone through all of the things. I was going to autism support, like partners of people with autism support group to, try to figure it out a little bit. I adopted nonviolent communication to try to communicate so that he would, be less likely to get defensive and whatever. It all got thrown in my face. But I, decided to say I felt hurt, upset, whatever. No, not making accusations. I had tailored my language. I had to tailor my language. I had to be the pinnacle of perfection when it came to articulating what I thought. But he had the privilege of screaming and calling me names and cussing at me and punching things and destroying property. So that is what happened that morning. I was in the house. I was taking a shower, getting ready for work. I was crying because I had said I felt upset about the way he'd been treating me. He started screaming at me, said that I was crying at him, that I was ruining this. How could I do this to him? Then he just started punching things in the house. I just heard bang, bang punching, and then he slammed the door and left. And that was the first time that ever in my life I'd called a domestic violence hotline. And thank God for these people who volunteer, because that was the first time my experience was labeled to me in such a clear way that this was abuse. And it was a wholly validating experience. I called them and made a plan. Basically, 2 days later, I took my dog and we drove to North Carolina where my sister lives. And I stayed there for a month. Got a little, got my shit together a little bit. Actually, not really, because while I was in North Carolina, sister's life fell apart, and then my dad was there, and that was not ideal, because he is not great with emotions. So it was just not a great situation. But I stayed there for a month, cleared my head a little bit, had my dog, and while I was there, I went no contact. He didn't. I had the police called on me. He had tried to get me sectioned or involuntarily committed. I got a phone call from the police saying that he said that he had called them saying I was suicidal and that they found concerning things in the house. Granted, this was a week after I had left, and I wasn't suicidal, and there was nothing concerning in the house to begin with. Yeah, so he kept trying to contact me. I blocked everything. The police called me, all of that. So while I was in North Carolina, it was really fun. I got hit by a car riding my bike. That was neat, right? I got some road rash, whatever. It wasn't like I'd been hit by a car like 6 years ago and got knocked out. So it wasn't as bad as that. The scene was a lot because like I was surrounded by like the police and the paramedics and all that. And they're like, "You want to go to the hospital?" I'm like, "No, thanks." And yeah, so and the poor girl that hit me, she was like in her early 20s and she was like almost crying. I'm like, "It's okay, it's fine. It's happened before, no big deal." So yeah, and then like the day after, I got the worst. I've never had rope burn, but my dad had gotten me a rope because my hound dog is a hound. She runs. So I wanted to tie her up, have a rope, a long thing so I could take her swimming. Got wrapped around my ankles and whoo, burn. Oh my, it was worse than getting hit by a car. You know.
Damn. Like you have been through it.
Yeah, and then so my sister has a kid, she's 3, my niece. And then I got so sick. I got bronchitis and a sinus infection from the child germs. And then I decided I had enough of being in North Carolina and I drove home and like my friends, I think it was like just my friend was like, "You can stay at my house." I'm like, "Okay, fine." And I drove back. And it took me 3 days to drive back, number one, for the dog, and number two, because I was so sick. I was just like coughing and just like drinking Dayquil, just like sipping the Dayquil while I was driving. Granted, my car is ratchet. It has no seat belts because my dog chewed them. And that when she was a little puppy, she had gotten under the door, under the car seat. No, not the door, the car seats, and like chewed some wires that connected to the airbag sensor. So I don't even know if it has airbags, but it says so. I'm like, yeah.
I'm like, should we be laughing about this?
I
But
made it.
but you know what? It's like it gets to that point. And I said all the time, it's like I'm either gonna laugh or cry, and I'm tired of freaking crying. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I get so interested in the statistics of things. I think that you and I talked about this. Like it usually takes, I think, what the average is 7 times for a person to leave. Um,
Yeah.
and you left 2 days after making up your mind and everything just really hitting you at what you were actually going through. In 2 days, you were gone and you haven't returned.
Mm-mm. One and done, baby. Like I attribute it to a lot of things. Number one, I'm very stubborn. Number two, I think with ADHD, for me, it's very much out of sight, out of mind, and that, the object permanence can happen with people too, sorry. But so going no contact was so important for me. And then having people be like, oh my God, thank God you're out of that. Like my best friends telling me, like, if you're 5 minutes late for something, I thought it was that time that he had hurt you. Like people telling me these things. And then being shown how I deserve to be treated. So that.
Meaning, yeah, so you had people in your life that was,
Hmm.
treating you differently, and you're like, oh, this is what respect is. This is what
Hmm.
courtesy
Yeah.
and manners. Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, and oh, okay. So when I say no, that actually means no, like respecting boundaries and,
No
you
is a
know,
complete sentence.
huh?
No is a complete sentence.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. So having people in my life treat me like I guess I deserve to be treated, and coming from that where I just felt like and was walking on eggshells, and my nervous system was just in fight or flight the entire time. And now realizing how every bang when I was at the house, I would flinch. He would come up to me and I would flinch, and he would be like, what are you doing? Stop acting like an abused woman, mock me like that. Just even things like, like I have so much anxiety about having passengers in the car, not just because my car is ratchet, but just because like when I would drive, which he would like basically make me drive a lot of the time because, whatever, he's autism. But then at the same time, I would be driving and it would be like he would like gasp and like clutch his pearls and like, and it would give me so much anxiety. And I'm like, ugh, you drive then. I can't take this. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
And so you think he was purposely,
I mean, he would do that to my dad too. Like, he wasn't nice. He wasn't nice.
yeah,
He was mean.
wow. I want to ask you, you had mentioned, that you're a therapist and you did not know, even though you work with domestic violence, people who've survived or in part of domestic violence, that it still took you a minute to realize that you were. And what I have found, and again, not a professional, but just what I've found in the conversations I've had, is people are so easily able to say, well, this person has black eyes. I've never had a black eye, so am I
Mhm.
really being abused?
Mhm.
They have
Yep.
someone else's to compare it to, even if it's just a
Mhm.
television show. Like, well, I've seen TV shows of women who are in horrendous environments, and I haven't gotten a black eye. I haven't had a busted lip. He doesn't pull my hair, you know.
Mhm.
So am I really getting abused? Do you find
Mhm.
that really common?
Oh yeah, I do. I think so that is common with victims slash survivors of domestic violence. That is common with perpetrators too, because they're like, oh, I'm not hitting her, so I'm not abusing her. They will look to other people as abusers, but won't see themselves as abusers. Like there's always someone worse. And I think it's the same for victims too. There's always someone worse. But again, for me, there is that I'm very good at compartmentalizing.
Mhm.
So I can really like take the professional self and dial into, someone and really hear their lived experience. And one part of me will be like, huh, interesting, resonates, but I shut that off a little bit. Yeah, yeah, so I'm good at compartmentalizing. And yeah, I think there is the fact that he never, I mean, he's pushed me, he's raped me, he's kicked me in my sleep, but he never actually like punched me.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes I would think like to myself, he'd be screaming in my face and I'd be like, please just hit me. And I think that is also a common experience of people who get emotionally, verbally abused by their partners is because they don't, maybe the experience isn't as real or seen as abuse. And this is just a travesty that, you know, our society, this is just one of the big problems with our society. We see abuse as the most extreme, but coercive control, and again, my one of my coping mechanisms is intellectualization. So I've for the past 5 months I've been on medical leave from work. So I've been going down the deep dive rabbit holes of podcasts and audiobooks and all of that on domestic violence and coercive control. And coercive control is actually like the most dangerous form of intimate partner violence. So,
Tell us a little bit about that.
yeah, so coercive control is basically just a pattern of abuse that it starts off so insidious, and I think it comes down to like the complete erosion of a person, the victim, the survivor's identity, sense of self-worth. It can be like isolation. It could be, the emotional abuse. It can be like the guilt trips for going out. And it's like for me personally, it was I stopped doing things, not because he told me to, because that's the thing. They won't outright tell you that you can't do this, but they'll make it so miserable that you decide on your own not to.
Yeah. To pick a battle,
And
right? And then every time you're picking the battle, it's like
yeah,
he's the battle. So I'm just
yeah,
gonna stay here because if I go to the grocery store, if I go to the gym, if I go ride my bike, if I step out and make
yeah,
a phone call, it's gonna be 2 hours of shit. So I'm just gonna stay here and do nothing. Like
yeah.
that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, there's the gaslighting. There's the manipulation. There is, it comes to the point, like I said earlier, it's death by a thousand cuts, where it slowly shrinks your world. And even like my two best friends, they saw it. They saw me just dying inside. And I felt myself like I felt myself just losing who I was, losing that spark and fire. It's coming back now. I didn't realize how much he had extinguished that flame until I got out of it, and I'm not not in survival mode like I was when
Sure.
I was living with him, waiting for the next shoe to drop. Always waiting for what did I do wrong, monitoring being his emotions, being hyper vigilant to every change in speech, affect, tone, anything. I read the room so well. I could tell just walking in the door how my night would go just by the energy. You get dialed into those just nonverbals that say so much.
And I find it very interesting too how he, the abuser wouldn't dare ask someone to always stay at home. You can't go do this. You can't
Mm-mm.
do that. So when the abused is trying to rationalize things in their head, or even talking to a family member or a friend, and if the question is, well, so he's told you you can't leave the house, so you can't go do these things. Well, your response is going to be, well, no, but he made me feel that way.
Hmm.
Never said that, you know.
Right.
So now he's like, in your case, of course, I'm painting this whole lifetime story in my head. It's like, well, maybe you're just misunderstanding my tone due to the autism.
Exactly.
It's like you're the
Exactly.
crazy one. It's like, well,
Yeah.
he didn't tell me I can't do this.
Yeah.
I just feel like I can't. And then you're gonna have those people that are like, well, so the fact is he didn't say anything to you. You're feeling a certain way. That's your problem. You're trying to make
Yeah.
him be a bad guy for your problem. You're crazy. And then what are you left with?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's how he weaponized the autism and disability and all of that. And granted, I had been for a significant part of the relationship been the one working. I was the financial and still am technically because like I said, I'm paying. Oh yeah, so when I left, I according to him abandoned the marital home. So now he's living in the house that I pay the mortgage for with our cat my with the cats that, you know, and when I went to go retrieve a few of my things, I had to have a civil standby with the police and I had two of my friends come with me. And he was just so rude and obstructive with the police there. He was accusing me, saying I was trying to steal the cats, steal his things. He was following me from room to room, saying he wanted nothing to do with me first, but then following me room to room, taking everything out of the bags that I was like just frantically stuffing my stuff in, pulling it all out. The cops were there. Like he was completely unhinged, so rude, so obstructive, so manipulative. So that's just to like show how, he'll act in front of the police and all that. And so,
Not
yeah,
considered
so
threatening behavior.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, so I was like the financial provider and, again, still am paying for the mortgage. And yeah, so he lives in the house. But yeah, so again, back to like the whole autism thing and him weaponizing that. There was a point it was almost a year ago now, I think. He flipped out in the parking lot of a grocery store and kicked a woman's side view mirror off her car. Guess who paid for his attorney? Yeah, me. Of course I did. Huh. And so so now I'm paying for my own attorney through the legal process because I could have had like services through our domestic violence shelter, but he got there first. So they can't. Yeah. So he got there first. I don't know how, but I know he was there because at that point we have a Fi collar for my dog. It's a GPS tracker. I have an app for my phone. So whenever my dog goes somewhere, it would alert me when he had the dog, it would alert me. So my phone was showing me that the dog and him were at the domestic violence shelter. I'm like, oh, that's weird. How did that was the day after that I had called the DV hotline. I am thinking at now, like in retrospect, I'm like, oh, he must have gone through like my iPad or whatever. He must have gone through my messages and like, so that block. So
They
now I'm
just
paying for an
didn't like.
attorney. And then, so he was, and it's all been lie, 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 lie. It's all been like, Thrush, this was months ago. He was like, I have an attorney. You better get yourself an attorney quick. Da 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 da. I did. I filed. I paid all of that. He didn't have an attorney. He just got an attorney. Now I'm wondering where he got the money to have an attorney. It's like he's not working.
Did you know anything about his past? Like, was there a history of anything that you've learned that would be related to this and the way he's acting now?
Oh, his past was messed up. Yeah, so was a he was a replacement child. So his sister tragically died as a young, maybe yeah, a infant or toddler, maybe under 3 years old in the bathtub. Yeah. And he was born not outright, so to speak, but replacement. So I think that. And I don't know, I think just some people, is it nature, nurture? It's both. But I think just some people are just more likely to be abusers. And I think, and he's just in the level of entitlement. It's wild. I think like if you don't have that mind frame, if you're not an abuser, you don't get it. People don't get it. People try to rationalize and like understand, but it's like a different language. If
Yeah.
you don't understand that language, you don't understand it and you're not going to until you learn it. But I don't know if this is the brain that you can learn. Like why? There's a lot of answers, but I mean, I don't know if anything really like
I don't
fit.
know that it could be a brain that I'm speaking for myself, that I personally could learn because I'm not an abuser.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do think that there's awareness that can be brought to me for me to look for certain signs.
Hmm.
I'm in a place in my life now. I've been single for over a year, and I'm thinking about putting myself back out there. And I keep
Yeah.
reminding myself of the things I need to be aware of because I've not dated or really been out in the dating world in 8 years. I was with someone for 7 years,
Hmm.
and so the thought of like putting myself back out, like a lot can change in the dating world in 8 years, and I'm like, what's about to happen to me? Maybe I should just be alone forever. I'm not too mad about that.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, and we don't have to hit on this too terribly long, but I know in the other shows I've had this conversation, I can't wrap my mind around the fact also that what was it, the 80s or 90s is when it became illegal to have unconsensual sex with your spouse,
Right. Right.
and that you can absolutely rape or be raped by your spouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there
You
are
sure?
even some older generations that will still argue with us about it, and
Yeah.
the era that they live. Now, mind you, it's usually the straight man that's arguing the case.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but actually, no, I can't say that. I've had equal conversations with women that are like, no, it is my job. It is biblical.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're admitting that, yeah, rape is in the Bible and rape is biblical,
Hmm.
that's a good part of the Bible. That's a good part of the story. And I can't wrap my mind around
I think I mean, I hate to throw out the P word, but the patriarchy, like, I think that is just like one of those real examples of the patriarchy. The fact that for maybe 30 years it's been illegal to have unconsensual sex with your spouse, but and even some women, it's that internalized, you internalize the norms and mores of your society. So a lot of women internalize those ideas, and it is my marital duty to, and for a long time, that's what I would do. My body, I thought, my body did not like sex with him. I thought I had no sex drive. It was my body protecting me, and I would do my marital duty as much as I possibly could. But again, I did it to avoid, you know, punishment, to avoid mood, whatever mood he would be in. One time before a trip, I talked about sabotaging trips. One time before a bike trip that I went on, he, as I was leaving the door, he accosted me and got really angry at me for not fulfilling my marital duties before I left, for basically not having sex with him before I left the trip. Yeah, he got really mad and I left crying. But yeah, so if it's not an enthusiastic yes, then if there's any element of guilt or coercion or any of it, it's not consensual. And that is something that I have been having to learn myself. Like, it wasn't consensual because I was doing it to avoid punishment.
And saying yes because you feel like you have to, again, picking your battle, does not make it consensual. Sometimes having to say yes to something is that surviving, you know.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're having this discussion about domestic violence. I hate that it's a discussion that we have to have, but I think it's very important too. But to kind of shift things to a lighter side of things with your job and what you're experiencing now, and I want to say you're in real time experiencing this as far as like you've got your escape plan, you're living up to the escape plan, you have escaped, but there's baggage that comes with that, and there's things that have to, there's ties, right? I mean, houses, cars, bills, all these things. So, what new thing have you discovered about yourself that you would like to pass on to women that might be in your shoes? Because you didn't go back, you did leave, you made the decision to leave it, and you did it.
That, number one, I guess I do have a sex drive is the first thing that I discovered about myself.
Yeah.
And even though, like, it had been 20 years, you don't have to you don't have to suffer through it. You I it's you I can leave and I can be done and I can be free and I don't have to feel guilty for taking up space, or which is still, it's a learning curve, that's for sure. I'm learning that a lot of my personality, mannerisms, way of communicating with people are trauma responses. Yeah, I'm learning that I over apologize or over explain and, want to be heard and seen and understood and like, wait, do you understand what I'm saying? And I will go, I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that. So, like, oh, I don't want to go on a bike ride. I don't have to say, oh, it's because I can just, I've had my friends tell me, like, you can just say no. I'm like, oh, I can?
Yeah.
Because we talk about fight, flight, freeze. Fawn is a more, not necessarily like, that is more of a learned survival. That's one of the learned stress responses that I have to manage other people's emotions. I have to manage my environment, other people. They're okay, then I can be okay. And that was what I adopted. I was a big fawner. That's why I do my marital duties every week and pay
Did
for the attorney and
mm-hmm. Did
are
Redis-
you okay? Are you okay? Did I do something wrong? Are you mad at me? Like that constant checking, needing reassurance, asking over and over. Still have to break that.
yeah. But I think personally for myself, when I started finding these new things about me, rediscovering myself after, my trauma, which granted mine was not, mine was a one night, one time thing by a stranger, but I still had to unlearn some thought
Mhm.
patterns. And then, for so long, I felt like I kept saying that he stole this from my life. He stole my joy. He stole my laughter. And then I started realizing that no, it was just put on hold for a little bit. And so
Yeah.
as I started rediscovering myself, I really started enjoying it. And even just watching you talk, we could have sat and cried for an hour, but we didn't. We talked about some deep stuff, but we also laughed with it. So I feel like you're, especially when you talked about like discovering that no can be a complete sentence and that you don't have to have some kind of huge dramatical explanation to not do something that you don't want to fucking do, and
Mhm.
to find that you have a sex drive that you've probably been, well, I'm sure been deprived of so many things that you are just now starting to discover that maybe I do like pineapple on my pizza, kind of thing.
Yep.
And I think when we start to learn to enjoy that, that's a part of like getting back our control.
Yeah. And I think through all of this, my cousin, like, he lives in DC, and we, on my way to North Carolina, I stopped in DC and I stayed with him for a couple days. And we have gotten so much closer that he has been like a shining star in all of this. Like, our relationship just has grown, and we both have such like fucked up sense of, like, the dark, twisted sense of humor. So we will just like laugh and just, yeah. So I think that's rediscovering that, like, that I can laugh, because my ex, he would always just be like, "Oh, he would just diminish me, demean me. Oh, you." He would say mean things. Oh, it's just a joke. I'm just joking. You just don't have a sense of humor like that,
Uh-huh.
you know? And I'm
I
like,
know.
well,
I tell
be
people all
funny
the time.
then.
I tell people all the time, like, you must not know how to joke properly because we should
Yeah,
both be laughing.
yeah, right.
I've really enjoyed this conversation. I know that's always so weird to say because we talk about some hard things, but again, it's conversations that we have to have. And I don't want to get too crazy with this. With us being where we are, even politically right now,
Oh,
there's a lot of things being brought to light, and
mhm,
there's also a lot of permission being given to a certain type of person that
mhm,
where maybe violence is okay. Like that, I feel like they're being given permission to be
mhm,
violent, and
mhm.
so I think that we have to keep having these conversations, and
Oh yeah.
we have to know where that safe place is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. It's really tough. And I think 5 months ago, 6 months ago, when I was working, hearing, because I stopped listening to the news. I can't, it was being a social worker, being working with a population who my position's grant funded, a lot of federal grants too. My population being not a priority to our current administration, so, very scary for a lot of people. So I stopped listening to the news. But yeah, still, yeah, the political climate, it's just that macro, and it affects everything. And I'm really actually now not rediscovering, but really like fine tuning, like, maybe not fine tuning, but like the whole conceptualization of why I'm a social worker
Yeah.
as a therapist, and not like a licensed mental health counselor or any, because a social worker has like a set of values different from, let's say, an LMHC that takes more of like a psychology lens, as opposed to more of like a social context. And yeah, and I would cringe a year ago about the patriarchy. And now It's like nothing like being a victim or a survivor of intimate partner violence to really get you like, oh, fuck the patriarchy. Yeah, that. Like, oh, wow, yeah, women do have it a lot harder.
I
You
know.
know, not to blame everything on it, but yeah, it can be tough for women.
Well, and it really scares me too because, and I don't know if a state has done this yet. I want to say that maybe Texas has, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's all just being talked about right now. But the whole like no divorce act or whatever, where
Oh my God, I can even imagine.
pardon.
Uh, no, I said I couldn't even imagine.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, imagine. I mean, yeah, like the thought of if you were not able to get divorced for a year
uh,
and still had
uh,
to, and I think they were talking about still trying to have it where you had to still like live in that house together. I mean, that's going to put people. I think that death rates will increase, even if it's a person protecting themselves from the abuser.
yeah, yeah,
Because obviously, we don't care to put women in prison right now for protecting themselves one way or another.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we don't have to go down that road, but it just, that's just where my thought process goes is what if we lived in a place where you were not able to escape and
R-
women and even some men were not able to have that escape plan and that
right,
very
right,
scary and that hopefully does not happen. But all right, so
right.
this is now I'm going to do to bring this to an end. I'm going to do my favorite segment with you from the Ish Bowl. I'm going to draw just a rapid fire question, ask it to you, and this was a little fun. So I'm probably going to want to answer this with you. So the question is, would you rather have unlimited travel or unlimited food?
Let's see. Oh God, that's a hard one because I like both, but unlimited travel. I would say unlimited travel. Like that, yeah, because I do like that just seems more like in all encompassing. I can figure out, even though I have celiac and I'm a little whatever, it can be complicated. But yeah, I'd do unlimited travel.
See, I'm not. I like to travel a little bit, but I'm good with one vacation a year. I
Yeah.
like being home. I like to have a lot of like staycations. That doesn't mean I always
Yeah.
want to be at work, but I like being at home. What
Yeah.
I love more than anything is food. I love food. I love the smellier the cheese, the better it is. Like I want to try everything, and if I could just be home where I have everything that I need and just have unlimited catered food come to me on a regular basis, like people would want to be your friend.
Yes. Oh.
The different kind of parties you can have with themed parties based around the food. Like
Yes.
I would do the food,
Ah, hey, I get it. I get it. That makes sense. I totally get it.
but I would love maybe a good compromise where okay, could I have unlimited travel within maybe the United States with like where could we just find a way to compromise to have both? Could I have unlimited travel in the United States as well as unlimited food while I'm traveling in the United States? Where I can try these new restaurants and just have an abundance of food. And like, could we find a compromise with that? Because I would
Right.
have both.
Right. I mean, I think like it would be easy for me to have I mean, not easy. It would make my life easier to have unlimited food because I can be so, yeah, because it can be really annoying food for me.
Yeah, probably gonna have to get dinner now that we've been talking about it because I was pissing
Ugh.
earlier. So I'm so glad that well, I'm not gonna say reconnected. We've never been unconnected, but of course, sometimes life just happens. And it's been a while since we talked
Yeah.
on the phone the other day, and once we get on the phone, there we are. I pace up
Yes.
food.
Love it.
Great, yeah. Thank you for doing this with me, and we're gonna
Of
have you
course.
back. And I'm really looking forward to it. I've loved this conversation. I'm proud of you. I know that
Thank you.
things are rough right now, but you're staying better than afloat, like you're doing it, and
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. And I'm happy for you. And I
Thank
think
you.
be a great example for people, to help inspire them that they are strong enough. They can do it. There's going to be sacrifices. It's not going to be easy, but you can do it.
Right. Yeah, you can.